Hello, hello, my amazing creative friends. Oksancia here again. Today I am sharing how I became a textile designer with no creative art education as a self-taught illustrator and artist. And I do hope my story inspires you today. So stay tuned. I am Oksancia. Welcome to my channel. I have been creating art since I was a child. I always been drawing and coming up with interesting illustrations. If you asked me to draw as a kid, I will probably draw you a cute cartoony kitten. I enjoyed drawing a lot. And what happened interestingly with me was that I also loved poetry and literature, and especially children's books. So I ended up studying languages and literature, and I ended up doing two masters, one in Ukraine, where I'm originally from, and another one in the Netherlands, in Groningen, where I was so lucky to get a scholarship for, which I totally loved. It was an awesome, amazing experience to be able to finish two universities at the same time. However, my heart was always super creative. I always wanted to create something, to draw something, to come up with something. So I ended up just deciding after finishing two masters in 1 year. I was very tired. So I decided to just start illustrating and creating artwork and see how it goes, and even for just a half a year or so as a break, as a creative break for myself. At the same time, a friend whose name is Nastya. Hi Nastya, if you're watching. She's an awesome designer herself. She introduced me to microstock, and she told me, if you make these vector illustrations, this digital art, you can actually license them and make a little bit of money, even just a little bit to start it out, to get you started as a creative person. I was totally intrigued, so I actually started drawing directly in vector on my computer in Adobe Illustrator right away, and it was already 15 years ago. Yeah, about something like that. So I lived back then in the Netherlands, and I ended up drawing a bunch of very simple illustrations. I didn't have any art degree. I didn't take any classes except for 1 year as a 6-year-old back in Ukraine. I had the art class, which was very basic little class for kids. Other than that, I was just basically starting out from ground zero with my love of drawing. So what happened next is I actually started selling some of these illustrations, which got me very excited. I started making a little bit of a side income with my very basic illustrations back then, and a dream emerged to illustrate children's books, to be a children's book illustrator. To speed up a little bit the story, I ended up creating more and more of these illustrations. They were taking me a pretty long time to create. However, I loved the process. So I published two children's books with a United States publisher. They found me on the internet. They reached out to me because of my microstock illustrations. They found them and they reached out, and we ended up doing two published books with them, which was super awesome. I really liked the experience. Right now I have a 6-year-old daughter, and she is reading the books that I illustrated when I went to her kindergarten. Actually, a person one of the kids in the audience, she told me that she saw my books in a local library, which was really amazing for me to remember those times as a self-taught artist, just being interested in art, to be able to connect with kids through children's books, which was super awesome. After a few years passed, I didn't have a kid back then. I still lived in the Netherlands. I started getting interested in vector and in repeat pattern design. I already did vector illustrations, but I wanted to do vector repeat pattern design. I started seeing some repeat patterns here and there. I started wondering how to make them in Adobe Illustrator. So I started making something a little bit, and it was so slow. It was so, it didn't look good. I was very frustrated with the whole topic, right? With the whole process. So I almost gave up barely having started. But my husband, he is a tech guy, he is a physicist and he is a software developer in the past. He actually encouraged me and he said, okay, we can figure out the software, what's going on. He sat down with me and I showed him my frustrations. It was already 12 years ago or so. I showed him my frustrations and he helped me develop a specific custom system for Adobe Illustrator where instead of making one repeat pattern, and not even a good one, per week, I started making a few per day, sometimes even 5 or 6 per day. And I was able to produce a good quality repeat pattern designs starting from that one time. And here's the first very simple repeat pattern design that we created together as a uh, basic trial of a pattern design with my husband. And he actually it was very awesome to create even something very simple. But I just a few days ago, it's been already 12 years, 13 years, I just still on my fabric shop, to speed up a little bit. I just saw in my fabric shop that people have been licensing the very first pattern design that I created together with my husband. It was my basically very first good one, which was a correct pattern design technically in Adobe Illustrator. So people are still licensing it, and it makes me so happy that it's just I didn't even know back then the story that would unroll. So what happened next was that I started making patterns like crazy. With this new system, I started developing new custom systems. I started creating more and more patterns. I started creating collections. I started filling up my portfolio really quickly. And over the next year or so, I was up to thousands in my portfolio, and my income basically skyrocketed from the point that it was before. It wasn't a lot before, but I was able to support myself and my family with the income from my creative design work, which was so amazing. And since I was working for myself from home and I didn't have to report to any hours, it was just totally incredible. We ended up traveling the world. We ended up traveling to 24 countries, some of them three, four, 5 times, like Italy, for example, or Germany. It was a totally incredible time. So I'm so grateful that I didn't give in to my frustrations and actually um, ended up following through and practicing and trying and inventing things, putting things together. It was really amazing time. After that, my husband got a job at the university in California, Santa Barbara. So we ended up moving across the world to Santa Barbara. Amazing place, beautiful place. And we sold everything. We moved with two small suitcases and we had one tiny box of jackets, I remember, some books. That was it. I sold my whole art studio that I have built out in the Netherlands. I was not sad about it. I was excited for the adventure in California, and it was totally true because it's been already more than 7 years. We are in California and we really are loving California. So totally grateful for the opportunity to be here. By that time, I already worked on a lot of different projects. And by that time, I started having different clients, not only the publisher that I worked with, but also pattern design clients. So I worked with all kinds of packaging projects. I worked with handbag projects, backpacks, children's clothing, a lot of that. And I worked on all kinds of personal projects that I developed also for myself, which was totally interesting and exciting to get that experience. Having gone through all of these projects and in the meantime still creating for my vector repeat pattern portfolio, I remember around the time when I was when we decided to have a family and I got pregnant with my first daughter, I went through a stage where I had 3 months of no, basically I couldn't work because I had terrible headaches. So 3 months headaches straight every day, nonstop, and I couldn't take any painkillers because I didn't want to uh, cause any harm to the baby. So I remember it was hard because I love my work. However, I was blown away by the fact that my portfolio was still selling. Even though I wasn't putting as many designs in it, basically none for a while, it was still selling. It was still working. I got very surprised. That was kind of very interesting for me to see that this is even possible. And while we were traveling as well, my portfolio was working and licensing, and my income was coming in. So that was really cool. And next, and before that, there was a time when, for United States visa purposes, since we were not a citizen of United States, I couldn't work for a period of about 5 months, so I didn't do any work for a while, and my portfolio still kept growing. I was able to receive any kind of income, passive income that I had, and it was amazing that my designs were still selling. So it was very, very cool. Then I was taking care of my daughter, who was born in 2013, and for 2.5 years with no nannies, no relatives, since we don't have a family here, we didn't have it back then. It was totally amazing experience, and I'm so grateful. I was maybe able to work about 1 hour on some days, some weeks not at all, depending on what was happening with my daughter. So I again was able to keep up my creative business even through this whole process, right, of taking care of my daughter while my designs were still working for me. So that was totally amazing. I was so grateful to having worked all those years to build up that portfolio, so that that portfolio was giving back to me in the time when I had to focus on other things. So that was amazing. After my daughter was about 3, and she went to not to kindergarten, to preschool, as they call it here. It's basically kind of daycare or childcare center. She really, really loved it, so I was happy because she was happy to go to a childcare center. I was able to again do a few hours per day more work. So I started creating more patterns. I started working with more clients, and I made my first YouTube video on textile design, which is, I will link down in the description box for you guys, so you can check it out. But basically, I was telling a story a little bit similar to the topic of what I tell here. And this was so interesting to me to see how everything unfolded. So that's why I'm making this video for you today, to go a little bit deeper into the story of how everything came together, because I did not definitely know that this was going to happen, starting out studying languages and going all the way to textile design, pattern design, illustration, all of these things. So I made that video. I didn't think that much about it. It was just kind of inspiration kind of video. I put it up on YouTube, and now it's been already 3 years, about 3 years, maybe 3.5, that I started receiving a lot of messages about textile design, about this whole experience as being an artist, and especially self-taught artist and a vector graphic designer, how I was able to create my business, how I was able to license my designs. And through YouTube, I started making more and more free videos just like this one. So if you're new to my channel, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe, because I am making lots of awesome, helpful videos for you guys to learn more and to develop your own creative businesses, just like I did, because this is my inspiration and this is my way of giving back through this YouTube channel. So I developed not only more and more designs since I had a little bit more time. I also started making these weekly videos for this channel about textile design, about my experiences, my tips, my tricks, tutorials for Adobe Illustrator, for pattern design, all kinds of helpful things that I could think of, and answering your questions as an audience. And this is how I was building this library of textile design videos on YouTube. So what happened next? I started getting requests to create online courses for vector repeat pattern design and this kind of business. So I created my Pattern It Up online course. It was my first course ever, and to this day it was my most popular and most requested course. And since then I created 4 more courses which support my Pattern It Up online course. And last year in 2019, I was able to, I was so lucky to have received an award for my online course from one of the top online course hosting platforms, Teachable, which was so humbling. It was in summer 2019. I didn't even expect to be able to get this award just so quickly after publishing that first YouTube video, just within about 2 years into the whole journey. And now, as I talk right here, sit right here and tell you this story, I have more than 1,500 repeat pattern designers in my school across all of my courses, studying, and it across all of the platforms, and almost 25,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, which is amazing. I still cannot believe it. But this is just why I am telling you about the video side of things, is because I actually wanted to give you 3 main lessons that I learned from this journey of going through moving across the world, living in 3 different countries with 3 different cultures, and just going through all of this experience, is that I can tell you these 3 lessons. So number 1, the first lesson is I would never have created any of this if I hadn't been consistent. I know sometimes I was not able to work for months, and sometimes I still miss video or I cannot upload new designs for a while. However, I still kept coming back and coming back and coming back and building up that portfolio as consistent as I could. Over the years, it just balloons into this amazing portfolio work that starts working for you. It balloons into a big YouTube channel with lots of us, more than 150 videos that are also teaching other people, helping other people, which is so amazing, and helping also by people to find my online courses and create creative businesses just like I did, based on that step-by-step system, right? So what I wanted to say, that lesson 1, create consistently. Whatever art it is that you love to create, is it children's illustration? Then create that. Is it repeat pattern design? Create that. Is it video? Create that. And is it totally something else? Poetry, recipes. You just need to create consistently. And some of those things will not work out, but some of them will. So that's lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 is to do not think that you can just create 1 or 2 things and sit back and just relax and feel that, okay, so I will see what people think about it. Let's say this pattern or these 3 patterns. And if they say, oh my goodness, we love it, and they start hiring me and licensing my work, then it means that I made it. But actually, those 3 patterns are not the best. It's not your best work. You just started out. You don't know what you're doing. Even if you are learning from somebody, is still you haven't practiced enough. You haven't grown enough. You didn't give yourself a chance to do something with your skills, right? You didn't develop yourself yet. So just look at it. People liked it. People licensed it. Amazing. People didn't like it. Not yet. Keep going. This was totally what helped me. It's okay. It's okay. Maybe this video didn't work, or maybe this design didn't work. I still kept going, and over time, things popped out. Over time, some patterns that didn't get licensed 10 years ago actually just licensed last year with a big company. And it's just amazing. You never know which pattern will be licensed which year. That's why build up your portfolio. And the last tip that I learned from all of this is that never let yourself be stopped by some technology or something that is frustrating you in the moment. One time I was so frustrated by Adobe Illustrator, I almost threw my computer out of the window. I didn't throw it because I needed that computer, but you know what? I've been frustrated myself so many times. However, now I understand that if I was frustrated, it just means that I need to take a break and maybe ask people who already done this, who already know what they are doing, ask the community, figure things out, and sometimes just come back when you are in a better mood and you can process through that and figure it out. And then after a week or so, you look at this which was so complex a week ago, and you say, oh my goodness, I can do it in 5 minutes now. It's so easy now. And it's the same with design, and it's the same with cooking, it's the same with literature, it's the same with YouTube setup that I have right now. I was just setting everything up, and I was just thinking of that, This is the lesson number 3. Of course, I've learned so many lessons that I actually share right here on this YouTube channel. Please check those videos out, because I definitely put my heart and soul into these videos for you, so that you can develop yourself into the creative entrepreneur, so you can build out your own portfolio that will work for you, and you can email me one day and just report me your amazing story, what you have done. I would really love that. All right, you guys. So what do you think? Do you feel a little bit more inspired? Do you maybe think that something like this happened to you as well? Please comment below under this video, and please let me know how did your creative career started. I would love to hear your story as well, and let's just share and see how everyone's creative career started. When did you start being interested in a creative career? I would love to know in the comment under this video. Also, if you like this video, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to be notified about the next videos that I release, I try my best to release 1 video per week, then hit that little bell notification sign. And sometimes I do surprise live Q&As and surprise live hangouts with you guys on this channel, so that you don't miss it. Please hit that notification button, even if you're already subscribed. That will be really, really awesome. Of course, if you know somebody who is thinking of starting a creative career, who is not sure of themselves, please send this video to them. Maybe they will get inspired as well. They will get some ideas out of it. And then what I wanted to say last, that if you want to grow your portfolio 15 times faster, please grab a copy of my free Grow Your Portfolio Much Faster workbook. It's in the description down below and in the info card in the corner of this video. I am so excited to hear your stories and to see what you create with your creative powers. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this video inspired you, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye!